Hi, this is Lisa Rangel with Chameleon Resumes, the premier executive resume writing company, and thank you so much for joining me today. Today we're going to talk about 3 reasons why third-party recruiters may not be calling you back. And in this job market, executives, senior professionals, mid-level professionals, everyone's hoping that a recruiter is going to help them find a job, and then they get disheartened when they don't get responses from third-party recruiters. And having been a third-party recruiter for 13 years, I want to just shed some light on why you may not be getting a call back. The first reason why a recruiter may not be calling you is because they simply don't have the right job for you. They can think your background's amazing, they can think you're a great candidate, but based on the client base that they have and that they work with, they may not have a job that you're suitable for. And third-party recruiters are paid by the company, not by the candidate. So if they don't have a job for you that the company's willing to pay a fee for placing somebody like you with them, then no matter how amazing they think you are, they're not necessarily going to call you and spend time learning about you if they know they can't place you and then in turn can't make a fee. So that's really the first reason, is that they just simply don't have the right job for you, so they're not going to call you. And it's not a comment on the quality of your candidacy. It's just simply they don't have the right job for you. The second reason that they may not be calling you back is, and this is a little harsh, is your background isn't worth a 25% fee. Meaning, again, they work for companies that are paying them fees to find specific talent, and your background may be amazing. It may be, that you're a great candidate in so many different ways, but maybe you started your own business and you worked on your own for 6 years, or maybe you had a, streak of bad luck, and as a result, you've had a few different short-term employment gigs, or just other things about your background that cause an employer to pause and not be willing to pay a 25% fee for. That's really why a recruiter can be successful for a candidate, is because the candidate has a background that the company is willing to pay a fee for, and typically that's about 25% of the candidate's salary. So now that doesn't mean you can't be placed or get hired in other ways. In fact, only 10 to 15% of hires happen through third-party recruiters. So there's 85 to 90% of ways that a candidate can get hired that don't involve the company paying a fee for that candidate. So it's good news, it's fine. But candidates sometimes put so much weight into getting placed by a recruiter because the illusion is the recruiter's doing all the work and they don't have to necessarily do the work to find themselves a job. But the reality is unless you have a background that a company is going to feel like it's worth paying a fee for, that recruiter won't be able to place you. You may be able to get hired in the other ways hires are made, but you're most likely not going to get hired as a recruiter through a recruiter. Now, I've owned my own business for the last 11 years. If I decided I want to go work for a company tomorrow, I'm telling you, a third-party recruiter is not going to be able to place me, and I think I'm pretty awesome. So, employers don't typically like to pay fees for candidates whose backgrounds have either jumpy or had entrepreneurial stints or a variety of other. They're not going to pay for somebody to do a career change. So unless you have an upwardly linear, predictable path and you're going for the same type of thing that's next in your career, where you're viewed as a low risk with a high success rate, high probability of success, that's what companies will pay fees for. So if you don't fit that model, you're not a candidate that they can generate a fee for. So that's another reason, to get back to number 2, why you may not be getting a phone call. And then the third reason why a third-party recruiter may not be calling you back is they don't work for you as the candidate. Just to reiterate, and I touched a little bit on it in the first reason, companies hire third-party recruiters either on a contingency basis or a retained basis or a combination, combination of contingency and retained type of fee to find specific talent. If you as the candidate are the talent that company wants to hire through that recruiter, the illusion is that the recruiter is finding you a job. But the bottom line is they're not doing that. They're delivering a product to their client company who's paying them a fee. So they don't work for the candidate. They don't work for you, even if you have an amazing relationship with a particular recruiter. They work for companies who are paying them fees. So they don't owe you a phone call. There's always good practices, there's common courtesy, and believe me, I know there's 100 reasons why recruiters should call back. But the bottom line is, if they are pressed for time, if they're getting overloaded with candidates approaching them, if they need to spend time finding open roles to work on, in this climate, this is very difficult. Companies now can do recruiting internally, and they need to justify to the powers above why they need to even hire an external recruiter. So external recruiters are now even spending more time, finding open roles to work on. So they just may not have the time to call you back, even that courtesy call. So, as soon as candidates realize that third-party recruiters don't work for the candidate and they work for the company, it's just less of a personal, dig if they don't get a call back. So these are 3 reasons, and there's a bunch of other reasons, but these are 3 reasons why third-party recruiters may not be calling you back. And again, I mentioned earlier that only 10 to 15% of hires happen through third-party recruiters. So it's really key to have your own job search plan. You need to have your own plan of attack to get hired in the myriad of other ways hires are happening. Through networking, through employee referrals, social media connections, personal contacts, job boards when done smartly. Numerous other ways to get hired that don't involve third-party recruiters. And so the key is to have a job search plan. And that's what we do, and that's what we do with our clients. And we're actually offering a specific special where we can help you come up with a job search plan. And if you go in the description below, you'll see the link to what we're offering in terms of helping you coming up with a job search plan. So you're not doing this blindly, and you're not doing this passively. And by passively, I mean if you find yourself waiting for the recruiter to call you with the right job, or waiting for the job posting to come up for the job that's suitable for you, that's a passive way to job search. No matter how active you are in calling those recruiters or looking for those job postings, it's still a passive. You're still waiting for something to approach you. We help you devise a job search plan where you are coming up with a list of companies, reaching out to people strategically, purposefully, directly, not necessarily HR as well, because they're equally as inundated as third-party recruiters are. So, if you're looking for a specific, strategic job landing plan and you want guidance on how to do that, go to the link in the description below, and we will help you devise that if you choose to hire us. So again, it's Lisa Rangel, Chameleon Resumes, premier executive resume writing company. Thank you so much for watching today. If you found this helpful and you believe it can help somebody else, I'm going to ask you to share it. If you liked it, I'm going to ask you to like it. If you have any questions or comments, you can either comment below the description, or you can email me at lr@chameleonresumes.com. I read and reply to every email and comment. And I feel like and if you like this, you don't want to miss next week's, make sure you subscribe. So again, it's Lisa Rangel, Chameleon Resumes. Look forward to seeing you next week, and thank you again for joining me today.